Solomon from Portland, Oregon. He hit me and he said, first bold prediction of the night, the Big Ten and the SEC will only get 6 bids total in the playoff this year. I'm going to make that a 9.5. Solomon, only 6 of 12, huh? Well, 14 of the top 20 odds to win the playoff overall at FanDuel are Big Ten and SEC teams. So what do we have to have happen here for only 6 of them combined to make the field? I think you have to have Notre Dame come through. So Notre Dame's got to be in the playoff. You got your G5 team in, so that's 2 spots. I think you got to have 2 Big 12s and you got to have 2 ACCs. That's what you got to have. So you need 4 things to be happening simultaneously. You need a lot of cannibalization in the Big Ten and the SEC, where it's just a bunch of 2 and 3 loss teams. Then you need separation in the ACC and the Big 12. So that would look like Clemson and Miami just separate from the pack. Or Arizona State, Texas Tech. It doesn't have to be those teams. But 2 teams separate from the packs entirely, and they're clear, bona fide, how could you leave them out caliber playoff teams. That's how it would have to happen. I just think that's a lot to have to happen. So I'm going to make that a 9.5. Next up, Murray said Texas A&M makes the SEC championship game. A little history lesson. You know this almost happened last year. Do you remember the Texas game? This is the last game of the regular season. We were there in College Station. If Texas A&M beats Texas, they go to Atlanta. Like this almost happened last year. Because they didn't, everyone just memory hold it. They forgot about it. I'm going to make this an 8.5. This is not the craziest thing in the world. A&M's got the 5th best odds to win the SEC. They are crystal clear on their identity. I already talked earlier in the show about how much I trust their tailback room, their offensive line, defensive identity. I think will round into form. Watch the vertical passing game. They're not going to light it up through the air, but 2 or 3 times per game, they'll be able to threaten you or at least make you fear the threat of it enough to where I think it'll balance them out and they'll be very good. And it's just the kind of team that I think has a very high floor because of how physical they'll play and how consistent the game that they bring week to week will be. So it's an 8.5 for me. Next one's much bolder. We'll get back to the video 1 second. Do me one quick favor. Look down. Make sure you're subscribed. Most of you are. If you're not, please do so. It's the way we keep the channel free, we keep the videos coming, and we get to do college football year-round as God intended. All right, as promised, back to the video. Michigan State beats Michigan and Penn State at home this year. Year 2, Jonathan Smith will have his offense clicking. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a 9.5. But I am higher on Michigan State than the Pack. It's one of my big sleeper teams, actually. We haven't talked about this on the show, I don't think. Aiden Childs in year 2 at quarterback. Jonathan Smith in year 2 as the head coach there. Got a really good wide receiver. Got a really good tight end. Got some portal infusion on the line of scrimmage offensively that I think may be underrated. And both of those teams come there. So Penn State comes there. According to the model, there's not a FanDuel number on this game yet. We'd have Penn State as over a 2-touchdown favorite at Michigan State if they played today. Michigan is an 8.5-point favorite at Michigan State. You got to win both of those games. That's tough. I'm going to make it a 9.5. However, I wouldn't just fall on the ground and faint if you told me it's going to happen. So there's this little sliver of my mind that keeps on saying, watch out, watch out. What's the last one here, Bradley? We've got, this got controversial today. Ben just really wanted to cause trouble from Lawrence, Kansas. He said 4 flying creatures will make the playoff this year. Examples, Oregon, Kansas, Georgia Tech, Iowa. Now, if you're watching, you notice I skipped over South Carolina. This created a straight-up fight in the office today, which bled over to social because I ran one of the most disappointing polls I've ever been a part of. Because if we're going to have 4 flight-based mascot teams make the playoff, first thing we have to decide is which ones can fly. South Carolina Gamecocks. That's a bird, right? They can fly, right? I took it to Twitter. Is a gamecock a flying animal? A whopping 70% of you failed me, and you said no, a gamecock is not a flying animal. A gamecock is straight up a flying animal. It's got wings. It can get itself off the ground. The Wright brothers were in the air for like 8 seconds, and the entire world of aviation thanks them. If the Wright brothers are responsible for flight, then a gamecock can fly. And for that reason, I'm including South Carolina as a flight-based mascot. Auburn, we had no clue what to do. Is it a tiger? Is it an eagle? I know every time I go there, they got eagles parading around the field. They got one flying down to crucify something at the 50-yard line before games. I don't think it's a live being that it eats. But nevertheless, Kansas, yes. Iowa, yes. Oregon, ducks can fly, absolutely. Louisville, yes. Georgia Tech, bzz, yep. And then the G5's just got a bunch of Temple, Owls, FAU. Rice, I don't even think of as having a mascot. I think of Rice being Rice. And it's irrelevant because Rice is not going to make the playoff this year. Yeah, all that to say, I don't think 4 of these teams are making the playoff. So I'm going to make this a 9.5. However, if Georgia Tech and Kansas is a huge sleeper team in the Big 12. So if Georgia Tech and Kansas and Oregon and Louisville made the playoff, that's not crazy. Jesse, I think I may have made it too bold. I want to make that a 9.25. Should I stick with 9? You know what? We're going to stick with 9.5 because anyone who nails a prediction of 9.5 boldness or higher gets a chalice. And just for the creativity, this person, Ben from Lawrence, deserves a chalice of supremacy if it hits. We'll see.